Good evening, everyone. This is Divya Duheta Mahajan. I am the founder and director of Ennobler Private Limited, a mind handling solution company, and a company that works for the well-being of every human being on this earth. So today we have a very sweet guest with us. She is Aditi Sachdeva, and she is a certified graphologist, a handwriting analyst. She has been an experienced HR professional, coach, training facilitator with a demonstrated ability to help individuals and organizations. With her knowledge as intelligence practitioner and NLP practitioner recognized by American Board of NLP, she has designed and conducted workshops for students, teachers, and parents to leverage graphology for success and growth. So we are very happy to have you on board, Aditi, today.
Thank you so much, DDM. I would like to call you DDM if you don't mind. And
Yes,
thanks
no
for
need
your
to say.
beautiful words. You made me something, really big. But thanks a lot for a beautiful introduction.
Yeah. So, as we all know, see, corporate wellness is something that we look forward to in these present, times. Whether we talk about the corporates who are working to get more businesses, or the corporate schools who are, working to build up such kind of potential people in their institutions. So, we just want to know, as an audience, graphology is a very new subject. So, what exactly graphology is all about?
So, yes, thanks for asking that question. But let me tell you, graphology is not a new subject. It is there in existence from last many centuries, in fact. But definitely in India, it is relatively new. But there are certain set of people who have been using graphology for quite strong reasons and different purposes. So before we come on different benefits of graphology, I would definitely like to first, say certain lines on what exactly is graphology. So basically, graphology is a study of the personality traits and characteristics of a person. It is also called as brain writing because, it helps us read what is going on in your mind. So that's how it is also called brain writing. It helps us analyze people's true personality and gives us clues how people are behaving and why are they behaving the way they do. So it helps us understand the very magical question, why are they behaving the way they do? So I'm sure mostly we have faced troubles around people's.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, is it fine? Yeah. So that's what I want to really underline this, that graphology helps you understand people in a very deeper way, help them understand their characteristics with their strengths, their weakness, their likes, dislikes, and everything. Why are they behaving this way? You can actually get to know science of graphology.
See, I am just recalling those days when I was in school and my teacher used to, be very hard on me that the way your handwriting has to be beautiful. I said, why? Why, ma'am? Because normally, we feel that why we need to write beautifully. It probably reflects the way we think, and it probably also reflects the way we going to, inculcate that thinking in a practical action oriented world. So, somewhere down the
Absolutely.
line, somewhere down the
Absolutely.
line, yeah, today I realize how important it is to write beautifully and to make every word, place on the notebook in such a manner that it turns out to be a pearl of wisdom. Of course, it tells you a
Yes.
lot about you, but it definitely tells what the word is all about. Majorly, like when we write, as we grow up, we tend to lose up that,
So that's a very
intensity.
interesting thing. Actually, right,
Yeah.
DDM, it's a very interesting thing. Every student learns same handwriting from one teacher. So if there's a class full of 30 students, the teacher is teaching handwriting in a similar way to all the students, right? But still,
Yeah.
just like our fingerprints, every handwriting is unique. And that's the beauty of graphology because it tells about your uniqueness, your individuality, and that's how you can identify your personality traits. And if there's a need to transform them, bring changes in them, you definitely get to know. So it gives you a roadway to self-awareness in a beautiful way. And definitely, like you said, teachers really stress on beautiful writing, but no matter how much they have stressed, we always write the way we naturally write, because there's no control of ourselves on it. When you naturally write, it will come directly from the brain. The nervous system is getting the instructions from the brain, and your nervous system is working, and your impulse is coming on the paper. So you have to concentrate on that. Yeah.
As I was reading about more of how brain works, I realized that there are neural networks that collectively connect the concept and present it to the mind. So when we start writing, there could be a possibility that we come across the loopholes, the open circuits that are there in our mind, which are actually hampering the understanding of a student. Let's talk about student, because it's the most needed aspect in the present times, specifically for the student, right?
Absolutely. So, you have tried on the chord idiom. Like you said, there must be open neutrons or open circuits, which is reflecting on the writing. Exactly, this is what happens. So as a graphologist, I can say, our terms are a little different, but to make it simple, people who write in a disconnected way, who do not connect their letters, have a disconnection in their thoughts, and that is how their reflection on the writing is disconnected. So before we come to that, I will also like to tell what exactly and how graphology works and why it is called a brain writing, because it's a powerful fact, very known fact, that when we talk like we're doing right now, only 15 to 20% of our brain cells get active. They get interactive, and the cells are having interactions with each other. But when we actually write, when we press our finger and that movement takes place, 80 to 90% of brain cells get active. So that's why when the child is growing, and the school system, the education system really stresses a lot for you to write, even in the digital age like today. And even if you don't write much, it will have that impact in some way or the other. Maybe, if we are doing certain different activities with these fingers, it is as same as writing. But writing is the best tool to see that kind of, clues in your writing.
So as we are just one thing I want to ask you over here is, as we are moving towards more of a digital world where the writing is taking the backside, right? Absolutely. So how in present times do you think that schools can incorporate such kind of activities like graphology and help children grow in terms of their writings?
Actually, I'm really happy to see that, many corporates, many schools, many educational institutions have already started taking up graphologists as, part of their staff, as part of their teams. And in fact, a lot of teachers are pursuing courses of graphology to have better knowledge and understanding of how this works, and, understand their students better. And I think it's doing wonders, and still there's long way to go. Many schools, only I'm sure with metro cities, I've heard few schools are getting involved with graphology, but definitely long way to go. But how this can help parents like you asked, and teachers both. So I believe with parents it's very close to my heart, because I'm a parent myself, and I see how challenging it gets with children sometimes, when they just reluctantly absolutely tell you that they will not listen to you, or it's difficult to make your message reach to their ears, and so all these things, these challenges, kids are losing focus. I'm sure a lot of parents who are part of this session would agree with me that they face challenges like laziness. Kids are getting lazy. They are losing focus. There's no concentration. They are not taking right decisions. There's, they get really bullied. They are very dominating. They are not realizing their mistakes. Low self-esteem. They are not talking. So all these things, can be identified and seen in the writing in various ways. I will not go deeper right now how and where we write, but every dot, line, stroke, formation that we make is an instruction given from our mind, basis of the thoughts that we have. So, and this is a wiring that takes place when child is growing. So from 0 to 7 years, the child has a natural seeking ability from mother. In graphology, there's a concept of wiring, and also in NLP, DDM, how what we are today is basically on the basis of our childhood wiring and memories and the environment that we got, right? Graphology works in the same science of NLP. Similarly, it helps us identify that in writing. For example, if I tell you kids who write T, and the crossbar that they use on writing T formation, very low, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their self-esteem is too low, and that has happened because of certain reasons when they have grown. When they were growing from 0 to 7 years, it's your mother
Mm-hmm.
figure that impacts a lot. From 7 to 14 years, it's your father figure which influences you to a greater extent. There's a deeper science, deeper reasons, deeper wiring concepts which we can definitely talk about when we are making parents understand this. But this is
Mm-hmm.
how it is. I lost you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So again, those identification of all these challenges, like I spoke, can be seen in the writing and graphotherapy, which is a
Mm-hmm.
counterpart of graphology, can actually work like a physiotherapy. Like for example, we really believe in physiotherapy and we see a lot of changes. Similarly, graphotherapy works in the similar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For example, um, math.
Your voice is getting good. Your voice is getting it. Just a moment. Just a moment. Your voice is.
It's better now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
But
I was
again,
just,
it's putting up again. It's
I
coming
cannot.
again.
I Is it better
Now
now?
it's better. Now it's better. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was giving an example of a paralysis leg of a man. His leg has been paralyzed, and like a
Mm-hmm.
physician, uh, help him, give him orders. His legs. The doctors ask their legs, ask them to tell their brain to move their legs. A oral order
Mm-hmm.
to the brain, and then manually move the leg while giving that instruction is exactly
Mm-hmm.
how where the connection happens between the brain and the body, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in the same line, graphotherapy works when you make certain changes in the movement of your fingers while writing certain letters, depending on
Mm-hmm.
the analysis which has been done.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we see certain, in my last experience, the analysis that I was doing, I was seeing that the T was really high, uh, higher than the H. So T is a letter which reflects ego in an individual. And when the T's are higher than the H, then your intelligence is really getting hampered with the
Mm-hmm.
ego. And such people have, and if their decision making is too strong in the writing, or they have strong leadership skills, that makes sense, you can still let
Mm-hmm.
it go. But if they don't have other abilities and the combination is not setting well, we make those certain changes through graphotherapy by certain movements after deeper analysis. And
Okay.
those changes, after making those changes, similarly we see amazing benefits in people. They get more calmer, they are more stable, they know, they have a better acceptance to things, and those
Mm-hmm.
personality traits can be worked on by rewriting those certain changes. And
Mm-hmm.
this process take approximately 30 to 40 days of time to make those
Okay.
changes, like in
Okay.
NLP, in psychology,
Yeah.
so there's a nerve that has to form, which takes 30 to 40 days, and
Of
those
course,
changes are
even body takes a lot of time to come into a shape. So when mental muscle is needed to be built up, it takes much more longer time because, as you said, from your whatever the conversation we are having, from the beautiful words that you just placed out, that our mind is more powerful than the body.
absolutely, absolutely.
So if we train our mind, we train the way we want to conduct ourselves. So if
Anything.
anything that we want to change at anything outside, we need to first change it within. So that
Absolutely.
ways it takes a lot of time, and of course, we all acknowledge the fact that it is much needed in present time where kids are getting into a wrong direction.
They are
The
getting
kids are not.
distracted. There are so many
Yes.
distractions when they
Yes.
grow in different age. There are so much of distraction that encompassing them, and for
Absolutely.
that, parents have to be very alert and attentive, and they have to leverage such tools for better child development and better growth and success.
Even
Because
parents don't have time. They are
parents
actually
don't have
losing.
time. So
They
that
don't have
has a
time.
different wiring on children. Children get distorted, they get rebellious, they get very angry, and that is because of the time and the bonding they didn't get with their parents, which was supposed to be done at the right time. Like I said, 0 to 7 years is the mother's female figure, could be any female figure in the family, which child has a very strong impact on and influenced by. And from 7 to 14 years is the father figure. It's a male figure when your child body is highly developed, because mother is the one who gives you emotional security. Your self-esteem is high because of that bonding. Your emotion strengths are high. Emotional intelligence is again coming into the picture here with NLP. That when your mother, if you see, now I'm actually getting distracted. Lot of criminals, with that we see. The psychology case studies that has happened on them, researches has happened on them, most of them has a screwed up parenthood, screwed up mother. So that is what has led them to do what they're doing. So I think that initial period is a very important period for every child, for every individual. We do remember our childhood and we do take our traits from that childhood environment, and that is how we are what we are, unless we make certain changes forcefully in ourselves.
Absolutely. And I've realized that graphology is that bridge that can, meet both the ends together, whether we talk about the parents or the children or anybody on this planet. So it can be a really great boom to all of us who goes through your process and specifically your course through you. Aditi, just one thing. See, we have been talking more about the children. How graphology helps working professions, senior leaderships, and people working in an organization collectively.
Great. I think you've asked an amazing question. I really would like to throw some light, because many companies, big companies, are already working in the space of graphology and leveraging graphology in different departments of organizations. You will see, HR individuals, counselors, leadership roles are all being designed and developed, and have the persons are identified on the basis of graphology. Recruitment departments, they are saving so much of money. I remember large corporations, multinational companies are across the globe are using this handwriting analysis tool, that is graphology, for recruiting people for all the employment selection, because it saves a lot of money. It's the fastest and the cheapest way. You can do analysis quickly, and you give the reports and you get the right person, because eventually you can portray a certain image, but writing cannot lie. So, you can display a wrong image, a false persona in front of you, and go for a job, sit for an interview. But your handwriting, there are certain jobs which needs high integrity, which needs high honesty. So those kinds of traits are easily seen in the writing and help them, do the proper recruitments. Apart from that, if I talk about working professionals, if I talk about leadership roles, again, which kind of person can take higher responsibilities, have visionary mindset, have that kind of insights can be seen in the writing. Absolutely, which helps them decide role change, promotions. With recruitments and developing training programs, it's working magical. It's working like a magic. People are doing using graphology in various team building activities, which is because I have been in L&D myself. I understand how this is helping and bringing a change in the employees' mindset as well.
So normally trainings are very very superficial. When I say superficial, because they are meant to be time bound, and they are meant to be delivered for the people to whom we have got the funding for. But on another hand, we never think about what impact the training is putting up on the particular person. So if you say a person with 10 years of experience is coming for the training, he might be coming as somebody who is just sitting there for the leisure and getting all the pleasures of sitting there in a hotel and eating well.
Good luxury, yeah.
When we talk about training programs and we talk about investment that companies make in training programs, as you said, graphology has always helped people in even developing the training programs. So can you give us a little bit insight about how exactly it works wonders in teams?
So in organizations, and when we are working in organization as a working professional ourselves, major challenges that we face is around people. When there is a certain demand of a training program, it is always coming from a cause, right? It is always coming from a reason behind it. And usually there's a problem that is coming is around people, whether they are and when it's about people, it is about personality traits. And that is their answer. That is where your answer lies. It again leads to graphology in many ways. In fact, there are different psychometric testing which happens, which are part of various training programs. There are different working style programs, training programs that happens to make teams understand other team members, so that there is a cordial relationship between them and they can work in a more efficient manner, which leads to a better success and growth for the company and for the individual. So in this corporate, the kind of characteristics and areas where graphology come in picture is mainly decision-making ability, motivation styles of individuals, their creativity, their honesty, their work ethics, their sociability. So how social they are, how social, or they are people who want to be on their own. So depending on that, different delegation of jobs can be done. Depending on that, if the team manager knows their team members so thoroughly through graphology, he would know who are the people who are good in the frontline roles, who are good with marketing strategies, who are good with analytics, who are good with research, but not like to communicate much. So communication styles, who want to talk, who don't want to talk. In fact, also with children, parents get really frustrated with why their children are not talking. But there are certain children who are naturally not talking. It's not that they're upset or they are facing some challenges. Their mind is developed, or their thought process is such that they naturally don't want to talk. Rather, they are the ones who focus too much in details. So we see certain writings with researchers, scientists is like that. When they write too small, they are the people who have very strong eye for detailing. But they are the people who are not very social. They like to be isolated. They like to be on their own, very introvert kind of personalities. But again, parents get worried, or if the employee is not answering or not socializing, you have different mind thoughts. You start taking a revenge against him. All those things come, in a different way. That maybe you wonder that the boss is not liking you because he's not talking to you. So, your relationships with your boss, your peers, your employees, your teammates as a leader, as a manager, all get so streamlined when you get to know each other in a way like this, in a deeper insights like this.
Okay, so that's so wonderful
on and on actually, because there's so much that it covers. Yeah.
There is so much to know about it, and there is one aspect that the graphology for students and parents, and then on the other aspect, on the contrary, we have a graphology for senior leadership roles as well.
Absolutely.
And for the mid-level management too, so that they understand. But just one thing that come across my mind is, not if somebody is approaching you for this particular program, it's absolutely okay to understand that they are open to the analysis part. But when we go to a company where there are too many people and the decision making is under the company's control, we tend to realize that the mid-level management or the leadership is not that much interested, because everybody is trying to hide something from others, right? So when that particular aspect comes out, if say senior leadership experiences that kind of resistance, how do you tackle that? Because a lot of even employee wellness is dependent upon that. We can't entrust this kind of analysis on them, looking into fact onto the position they are sitting and their mindset, present mindset. So how do you handle that kind of situation?
So I tell you, I was part of a program where we did certain analysis of certain senior leadership. Okay, there were a few members, I can't name and reveal much details, but there were certain set of leaders where we conducted an analysis program. So usually when we have this analysis, we get to know so many details of an individual that we can't reveal that in public. It cannot, the analysis cannot be shared in the public, because there are so many things, deeper hidden stuff, which sometimes when we convey to the individual themselves are not able to accept it, because their listening skills are not that evident. that strong. And we can also see that in their traits, that when we're going to tell them, they will not agree to it, but later on maybe they will say, yes, it was right. So always the analysis is done on one-on-one basis. But yes, when it's done in a organizational motives and objectives, then similarly, I can quote you an example where we came across certain leaders where in one of that team of leaders, one person was very aggressive. He was that aggressive that he could come to an extent of really torturing their employees or anybody for that matter, verbally, not by, and also he had a traits of being aggressive physically also. But maybe because he was in a corporate setup, he couldn't do that. But verbally, definitely, he was really torturing his employees some way or the other. And that was the reason we were seeing there was a higher attrition rate in his team. So employees were really facing a lot of mental pressure and, mental instability because of that boss. So we had to make him realize certain traits. Certain graphotherapy was done on his writing, on his way of writing and thinking. Because like you said, everything starts from the mind, the DDM, right?
Yes.
And every thought in our mind leads to different set of words. Every words that we speak, we think, leads to different actions that we eventually do. Automatically manifests in our actions. And every action is eventually over the period of time converts into a habit, which reflects our characteristics, which makes our personality. So when that, and similarly it goes in a reverse way, when we make certain changes, it connects with your brain, with your mind. There are certain different strategies like meditation, which is also a part of graphology. It is combined in that way for mental wellness and well-being. And we actually saw those changes. His team members actually came up to HR and said that there's a drastic change, and suddenly our boss knows how to talk. We thought he never knew how to talk. So it's definitely difficult to make leaders, managers at a higher position, powerful position, to make them show the mirror. But once when they see and they believe in it, and when we tell them things which they never thought anybody can point out, they gain the trust and they try to improve. And again, it's on the person whether they want to improve or not. We are nobody to make that happen. Yeah. So it's they should also have the will. Like physiotherapy, if we are telling the paralyzed leg to move, they had the will to move, and then the doctor, physiotherapist, could move the leg. Similarly, it works with graphologist. Yeah.
Absolutely. And same principle applies because every leader has to go through a growing process. See, so if the same principle is applied to the children in school as well, if we look into the present scenario, children are very erratic. They tend to be very violent as well, and as well as abusive. Language they are using is absolutely unacceptable, even for the teachers. And I'm so surprised to know that they pass on the comments to the teachers, which was not the case when we have gone through our early stages of education.
Never, yeah. So something happened with me today only in my child's class. So where the children learn from, with children it's very important. They don't learn what they teach, what we teach them. Rather, students and children learn what we show them, what we are doing, what they see us doing, right? So today in my child class, I'm quickly going to wrap up. I would really want to share this. One of the parents have been very rude to some teachers during the online classes, and from last few days we were seeing it was becoming his pattern. Somehow today he I don't know, he just crossed all the boundaries and he said, ma'am, this is frustrating, you're not sharing the information, this is not done, I will not like my child to learn wrong things from you. And that was it. And somebody had to raise the voice, and I actually raised, and then other 4-5 parents came in, and we all actually shouted that how can you talk to a teacher in front of students? How will the students respect their teachers or probably listen to them what they're teaching? Because they're losing the respect, they're learning what you're doing. So definitely all the wiring, why kids are getting aggressive, rebellious, violent, the wiring is done in their childhood. What is done is done. How we can identify those traits, why it is there. Is it that they are lonely? Is it that they are threatened? Is it that they are facing certain issues? There is a reason behind every trait in our personality. We try and understand the reason. We discuss with parents. We bring parents in the session. We tell them this is the changes that we're going to make, and that is how it is done.
Okay.
With
And
teachers also.
much needed,
Yeah,
much needed. So
much needed.
awareness of this graphology towards parents is also the need of an hour. It's not just the children. The parents also need to be understanding with respect to how they are thinking, how they are conducting
How they are
themselves.
behaving.
Because
Yeah, how they are behaving.
children are just like a mirror. They are going to reflect what you are doing. So if we are doing
Absolutely.
something which is not acceptable, they are going to be imbibing that, and you will not be able to accept the same fact coming from them. So it's very important. So Aditi, do you have any course coming up on that?
Yes, DDM, we have already started few courses for graphotherapy for children from zero to from 7 to 14 years,
Mm-hmm.
and along with that, we have a graphology learning graphology course for teachers, because
Mm-hmm.
like teachers need to understand where their students are lacking, who are their sharp students, who are their weaker students, how you can increase the concentration level and all that, which gives deeper insights to teachers, who are your bulliers in the class and who are
Yeah.
sensitive to criticism, whom you have to take a different approach and explain them differently, all those things for teachers actually. And we have 2 3 programs already with us for teachers, for
Mm-hmm.
parents, for therapy for children, which we have already started. We are doing certain things with corporates as well, so depending on the requirements we are available. I can leave some
And
details of my programs if you want, uh, for our viewers
sure.
to see on my Instagram page. I can definitely leave some details of the program, or you can reach out to me directly on my number. I can share my number on the message in the comments.
And it was pleasure talking to you. To just wrap up the entire session, graphology is not the new technique, but it's a technique which can be taken by everyone in a very new way. So I would request everyone to at least for once try and learn the new skills so that we know where we are going wrong in our lives, so that we do not reflect the same wrong happening to anyone else who is just watching and observing us keenly. Uh, to end the session, I would just like to tell that Ennobler Private Limited is working as a corporate wellness company. We have been training and conducting a lot of life coaching sessions with the people all across the world, and we are also outreaching the companies outside India. For any queries, you can drop us a message in Instagram, and we will be happy helping you out. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching us live, and thank you so much, Aditi, for joining us
Thank you
today.
so much, DDM.
It's
Thanks,
it's
audience. Thanks for your love. Keep sharing.
okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
DDM, thanks for a beautiful session.